A young girl cries for the mother she's lost along the road and clings to her brother, not much older, for protection, while watched by the militia, accused of appalling crimes. Another family treads wearily across the border. Ahead, the uncertainty of exile, behind them the horror of war. Safe now, but the fear still lingers. Emmanuel's escape was a journey through hell.
First I get skeletons, skulls, bones, and the bad thing that we are smelling, rotten flesh.
You can smell the death.
Yeah, we can smell.
In the back of a lorry, we find an entire village on the move, dazed after days on the road. Close to 1 million have made this same journey. To be met by chaos, Uganda is overwhelmed. Aid agencies struggle to cope. Joyce has no shelter for her baby, but at least here, she says, there is no murder. Her own husband, one of countless killings.
They take my husband 5 meters away from the road. They slaughter him in front of me.
They shoot him?
Slaughter with a knife.
They cut his throat?
Yes. They say, let me see the example. If I want to, they will take me and they lie me near my husband.
Less than a year ago, this borderland was wild countryside. Now, for mile after mile, all you can see are the tented towns of refugees. They're fleeing a war that has set tribe against tribe, fueling such enmity that even in the camps the rival ethnic groups have to live apart. Among the survivors of a failing state, the youngest suffer the most.
In South Sudan's long civil war, there are no winners, only losers. And none has lost more than that nation's children. Most arrive here without a mother or a father. Many are entirely alone, and all are scarred by what they have witnessed.
They just slapped me because it was a big man.
Grace is 16. Her childhood sacrificed along the road.
They turned on us and they started raping me. After that, we shouted for help. There is no one that can help us.
Just before the rape, her mother had been taken and her older brother shot dead. She was defenseless. Now she's pregnant with her attacker's baby.
If it is a boy, it will be my brother. If it is a lady, that will be my sister.
Aid workers warn of a lost generation in the making. Children who make models of the helicopters that bring soldiers and death.
A child has been raped in South Sudan. A child has seen the father dying. A child has seen all this violence. But the child should get to understand that that is not the end of the story. There must be a point of hope.
But of all the basics of life these South Sudanese lack, hope is in shortest supply of all. John Ray, News at 10, Uganda.
Well, Sudan's 3.5-year bloody civil war has forced 4 million people from their homes, with 6 million facing the daily reality of going without enough food and water. Almost 1 million have now crossed the border into neighbouring Uganda. 600,000 of them, as John was saying, are children, and most have arrived without a mother or father. Many child victims of the war are now entirely alone. 60,000 refugees have been arriving every month for the last year, although those numbers have dropped in recent weeks as seasonal flooding makes many of the wooden bridges impassable. It has, of course, put enormous pressure on Uganda, a poor country which is now sheltering a total of 1.3 million refugees from 3 separate conflicts. Most of the camps in the northwest of the country are already full to bursting. And according to the UN, of the £673 million required for the regional response plan in the country, just 17% has so far been donated. Well, John Ray has returned to Johannesburg and joins us tonight. Really shocking stories, clearly, John, and there are 2 stories here either side of the border. First of all, what prospect to an end to the conflict in South Sudan?
Well, the problem, Julie, is that after 3.5 years, the poison really runs deep. There are tit-for-tat atrocities committed by both sides. But it just so happens that this week a fresh attempt to get a peace process underway has begun. Fresh hope that perhaps an international stability force can be deployed into South Sudan. Though I have to say, the head of the United Nations peacekeeping organisation turned up in South Sudan's capital this week, and the first thing he had to say, having met the sides, was that neither side looks like they're willing to end the violence at all. That is only really telling us what those refugees have learnt to their horrific cost, that the killing goes on, the looting goes on, the raping goes on, and there is absolutely no sign of it ending soon.
And what about Uganda then, John, and its ability to cope with this enormous influx?
Look, I think Uganda has been widely and rightly praised for throwing its doors open to these refugees. It helps Uganda that they have a lot of space in which to put people. It helps the West, though, frankly, for us to be able to say, look, Africa itself can deal with these refugee crises. How different, how more focused might have been the international response if these refugees were showing up on the shores of the Mediterranean rather than the border of Uganda. But the upshot is, as you said, the UN is getting less than 20% of the money that it needs to fund this growing, unending emergency. And there's a further problem there then, as well as the refugees lacking the very basics, if they are then also having to compete with local people for scarce resources like water, like food from local markets, you can see the potential for real tension with the host community.